Saturday, February 20th, 2026. A military intelligence unit in Jalisco is watching a man they have been tracking for weeks. He is a logistics associate connected to one of the most closely guarded men in the Western Hemisphere. On this Saturday, he drives a woman to a gated mountain resort in a small town called Tapalpa, roughly 90 kilometers south of Guadalajara. She stays the night. February 21st, she leaves. The man she visited does not. Military surveillance confirms his presence. U.S. intelligence provides what Mexico's defense secretary would later describe publicly as very important additional information that locks down the location. Special forces spend the night finalizing the operation. 6 military helicopters are staged in states bordering Jalisco, deliberately positioned away from Tapalpa so no unusual pre-dawn movement raises suspicion inside the cartel surveillance network. Ground forces, the Air Force, and the National Guard Special Immediate Reaction Force cordon the area before first light on February 22nd. The assault begins on foot. Cartel gunmen open fire immediately. 4 are killed at the compound perimeter. The main target and 4 bodyguards break through the tree line and run. Special forces pursue them into the undergrowth. A second firefight erupts in the woods. A military helicopter providing aerial support takes fire and is forced into an emergency landing. The main target is found wounded, 2 bodyguards down beside him. All 3 are loaded onto a helicopter in critical condition. The flight plan is redirected away from Guadalajara to Mexico City, specifically to prevent the cartel from staging a response at the landing site. All 3 die before the helicopter lands. By the time the Mexican government confirmed the death, someone else was already giving orders. And understanding who that person is changes everything about this story. Before we go any further, what you are about to hear covers organized crime, cartel operations, and drug trafficking at a global scale. All of it is drawn from court documents, government records, DA investigations, and verified reporting. Nothing in this video is graphic or sensationalized. These are facts, and they are significant enough on their own. This is Headline Uncovered. We go past the press conference and into the actual record. Court filings, DA investigations, State Department documents, and the details most outlets skip entirely. If this is your first time here, subscribe now and turn on notifications. This story is still developing. A follow-up video is already in production and you will not want to miss it when it drops. Drop a comment right now. Where in the world are you watching this from? We have viewers in over 60 countries and we genuinely want to know. Now here is what actually happened and here is what it means.
Unsolved. Mystery. Truth. Headline Uncovered.
Within hours of the death being confirmed, CJNG executed a coordinated response across 22 of Mexico's 32 states simultaneously. Approximately 252 roadblocks appeared. Hijacked cargo trucks, buses, and private vehicles set ablaze on federal highways. Gunmen attacked banks, gas stations, small businesses, and government installations. In Guanajuato alone, security forces logged over 70 separate incidents in a single afternoon. In Jalisco, 25 members of the National Guard were killed. A prison guard was killed. A state prosecutor's agent was killed. 1 civilian woman died. 30 suspected cartel members were killed in the clashes. A jail in Jalisco was breached. At least 23 inmates escaped. The federal government deployed 10,000 troops across Mexico to restore order. Total death toll from the operation and its entire aftermath: over 70 people, 27 security forces, 46 suspected criminals, 1 civilian. Airlines including Delta, American, Alaska, and Air Canada canceled flights. The U.S. Embassy issued shelter-in-place orders across 8 Mexican cities. Britain, France, Belgium, Canada, and Australia issued travel warnings. But here is the detail most coverage buried. While roadblocks burned across the country, military intelligence tracked a signal approximately 100 kilometers west of Tapalpa, in a town called El Grulo. The signal led to a man identified only as Hugo H., known inside CJNG as El Tuli, El Mencho's right-hand man and top financial and logistics operator. Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed El Tuli was not reacting to the chaos. He was directing it, coordinating roadblocks, vehicle fires, and attacks on military installations in real time, while offering 20,000 pesos for every soldier killed. A paratrooper rifle brigade tracked him to his location inside a vehicle in El Grulo. He opened fire. He was killed in the exchange. Nearly $1.4 million in mixed U.S. and Mexican currency was seized beside him. Guadalajara, a 2026 FIFA World Cup host city, scheduled to host 4 group stage matches including Mexico versus South Korea on June 18th, went into full shutdown. Governor Pablo Lemus activated a code red. FIFA had not publicly commented on the unrest as of this video's publication. This was not the behavior of an organization in chaos. This was an organization with an intact command structure executing a contingency plan. Someone was already in charge before the smoke cleared. The story of who that person is begins with a name. His name is Juan Carlos Valencia González. Born September 12, 1984 in Santa Ana, California. American citizen by birth. Also holds Mexican citizenship. He is 41 years old. His known aliases: L03, L Trace, L Pelón, L Tricky Trace, Palacas, LR3, LJP. Inside CJNG, he held the number 03 designation, third in the hierarchy of the most powerful criminal organization in the Western Hemisphere. El Mencho was number 01. His biological son was number 02. Valencia González was number 03. According to the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with the organization's internal structure, Valencia González began consolidating control immediately after El Mencho's funeral in early March 2026. The U.S. National Counterterrorism Center identified him as CJNG's de facto operational leader. He is not a man the U.S. government discovered after El Mencho's death. On October 8, 2020, a federal grand jury in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia returned an indictment against him on 2 charges: conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance for unlawful importation into the United States, in violation of Title 21 of the U.S. Code, and use of a firearm during a narcotics transaction, in violation of Title 18 of the U.S. Code. The U.S. State Department placed a $5 million bounty on him through its Narcotics Rewards Program. A DEA investigation confirmed he was responsible for manufacturing, transporting, and distributing narcotics in ton quantities, and for organizing numerous crimes of violence. His documented involvement in cross-border drug trafficking traces back to at least 2007, nearly 20 years ago, when he was 22 years old. To understand how a man born in Orange County, California ends up at the top of this particular organization, you have to understand the family he was born into. Because this was never a story about bad decisions or wrong turns. This was always a story about inheritance. L3 was born into 3 separate criminal dynasties simultaneously. Understanding each one is the only way to understand how he ended up where he is now. His mother, Rosalinda González Valencia, known as La Jefa, is the eldest sister of a Michoacan family that built its criminal empire starting in the 1970s. Her brother, Abigail González Valencia, alias Los Cuinis, led the family's criminal arm known as Los Cuinis, the financial infrastructure of CJNG. Los Cuinis laundered billions through shell companies, real estate, luxury goods, and international banking networks spanning Mexico, Europe, and Asia. The DA described them as among the most sophisticated money laundering operators in the world. Abigail was arrested in 2015 and extradited to the U.S. in August 2025 on drug trafficking and money laundering charges. Rosalinda herself was arrested in November 2021, sentenced in December 2023 to 5 years for failing to disclose financial transactions tied to a car wash she owned in Puerto Vallarta, and released early in February 2025, 1 year before El Mencho was killed. She is currently free. His biological father, Armando Valencia Cornelio, alias El Maradona, is Rosalinda's uncle, making L3 connected to the González Valencia dynasty through both parents. El Maradona founded the Milenio Cartel, which controlled Jalisco's drug corridors under the Sinaloa Cartel, operating under Capo Ignacio Coronel Villarreal. When the Milenio Cartel fragmented in 2009, one faction, Los Torcidos, became CJNG. L3's biological father ran the predecessor organization to the cartel his son now leads. The stepfather who raised him from age 2 was Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, born in Aguililla, Michoacan, age 59 at death. His documented transformation is one of the most extraordinary individual trajectories in the history of organized crime. Agricultural laborer in Michoacan, drug distributor in California, convicted heroin dealer in U.S. federal court, deported criminal, uniformed police officer in Jalisco, cartel enforcer for El Maradona, then co-founder of CJNG alongside Abigail González Valencia and original founding members Eric Valencia Salazar and Martín Arzola Ortega. By 2018, the Mexican government assessed CJNG as having surpassed the Sinaloa cartel as Mexico's most powerful criminal organization. El Mencho survived 15 years on the most wanted list with a $15 million U.S. bounty on his head at the time of his death. Rosalinda married El Mencho in 1996. Juan Carlos was 12. El Mencho became his stepfather. By the time he was a teenager, he had proximity to 3 criminal organizations: Los Cuinis, the Milenio Cartel, and CJNG, without ever formally joining any of them. What happened next turned that proximity into command authority. Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez was born February 14, 1990, in San Francisco, California. El Mencho's biological son. The designated heir. CJNG's number 02. He was first arrested in Zapopan, Jalisco, in January 2014. Drug charges were initially dropped. He walked out and was immediately rearrested on money laundering and illegal firearms charges. When Mexican forces arrested him again in June 2015, he was found carrying a customized AR-15 engraved with the words CJNG-02JR and Menchito. While imprisoned in Mexico, he continued directing cartel operations, negotiating drug transactions and approving weapons purchases according to U.S. court documents. He was extradited to the United States on February 21, 2020. A 2-week jury trial in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia returned a guilty verdict on September 20, 2024. Conspiracy to distribute over 5 kilograms of cocaine and 500 grams of methamphetamine for importation into the United States. Use and brandishing of firearms including destructive devices. On March 7, 2025, 12 months before his father was killed, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell sentenced him in Washington, D.C. Life in prison, plus 30 years consecutively, plus forfeiture of over $6 billion. Prosecutors presented evidence he ordered the killings of over 100 people and directed the 2015 helicopter attack that killed 9 soldiers. As of November 2025, he is held at ADX Florence, the federal supermax in Colorado. He will die there. His arrest in January 2014 removed the succession plan El Mencho had built. For the next decade, the number 03 position, previously the least watched in the hierarchy, became the most consequential designation inside CJNG. The man holding it had been inside the household watching everything for 30 years. On July 20, 2020, Mexico's then Secretary of National Defense General Luis Crescencio Sandoval Gonzalez stood at a press conference alongside President López Obrador and played CJNG's own social media footage. Watching the footage, General Sandoval identified by name the man responsible for creating and commanding the armed units visible in those videos. That man was Juan Carlos Valencia González. The U.S. State Department separately confirmed his role as founder and primary commander of 2 of CJNG's most significant armed wings. The first was Grupo Delta, built to operate in Aguililla, Michoacán, El Mencho's birth region. Controlling Aguililla was territorial ownership over CJNG's geographic origin. Grupo Delta engaged in sustained conflict against the Knights Templar, Los Viagras, La Familia Michoacana, and the Cartels Unidos coalition, and was implicated by Mexican military reports in the assassination of former Jalisco Governor Aristotle Sandoval on December 18, 2020. The second was Grupo Elite, created in 2019. Military-grade equipment, trained operatives, coordinated tactical operations. It drove CJNG's expansion into Guanajuato, Michoacán, Guerrero, Aguascalientes, Querétaro, Tabasco, and Zacatecas. The documented operational record covers specific verified incidents. April 2015, a CJNG convoy ambushed a police convoy in Jalisco and killed 15 officers. One of the deadliest single attacks on law enforcement in modern Mexican history. May 1, 2015, CJNG used a Russian-made RPG-27 rocket launcher to shoot down a Mexican Army helicopter at Villa Purification, Jalisco. 9 soldiers killed. The West Point Libre Institute confirmed this as the first time in Mexico's modern drug war that a criminal organization successfully downed a military aircraft. At the Tapalpa operation in 2026, one of the 2 rocket launchers recovered was identical in model to the weapon used in that 2015 attack. August 2016, CJNG operatives abducted Ivan Archivaldo and Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar. Los Chapitos, sons of Sinaloa cartel leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, at a restaurant in Puerto Vallarta. Both were eventually released. The Mexican Attorney General's office identified Valencia González as a suspect in the planning of that operation. June 26, 2020, CJNG gunmen ambushed Omar Garcia Harfuch in the Lomas de Chapultepec neighborhood of Mexico City. Hundreds of rounds fired. Garcia Harfuch was struck 3 times. 2 security detail members and 1 bystander were killed. Garcia Harfuch survived and is now Mexico's Federal Security Secretary, currently leading the investigation into CJNG's new leadership structure. 2022, the Mexican Attorney General's office linked Valencia González to the kidnapping of 2 women connected to Mexico's defense ministry, carried out as retaliation for the arrest of CJNG Lieutenant Saul Alejandro Rinzon Godoy, alias El Chopa. In March 2025, Mexican authorities discovered a CJNG training facility in Tocatlan, Jalisco, and separately confirmed the discovery of remains belonging to large numbers of individuals at a training camp called the Izaguirre Ranch. Both are part of the official documented record of the organization Valencia González has inherited, not as an observer, but as the man who built its military capacity from the ground up. Before we get into the legal case the US government has built against him and the succession battle that followed El Mencho's death, if you are getting real value from this level of documented detail, this is what Headline Uncovered does on every single case we cover. Subscribe now if you have not already. Hit the bell so you do not miss the follow-up video on this case when it drops. Now back to the story. The United States government did not begin building its legal case against Juan Carlos Valencia González after El Mencho was killed. The case was already years in the making. On October 8, 2020, a federal grand jury in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia returned an indictment against him. Conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance for unlawful importation into the United States. Use of a firearm during a narcotics transaction. The same statutory framework that put El Menchito in a supermax for life plus 30 years. The U.S. State Department placed a $5 million bounty on him through its narcotics rewards program, with tips directed to menchitips at DIA.gov. DIA established his drug trafficking activity dating to at least 2007. The sanctions architecture runs deeper. OFAC first designated CJNG under the Kingpin Act in April 2015. Designated again under Executive Order 14059 in December 2021. Then on February 20, 2025, 2 days before El Mencho was killed, Secretary of State Marco Rubio formally designated CJNG a foreign terrorist organization under President Trump's Executive Order 14157. Any person knowingly providing material support to CJNG now faces criminal prosecution carrying a maximum sentence of life in prison. In June 2025, OFAC sanctioned 5 additional CJNG leaders under terrorism authorities, including El Mencho himself, El Sapo, El Jardinero, El Choro, and El Doble R. El Doble R was named specifically as the prime suspect in the May 14, 2025 murder of 23-year-old beauty influencer Valeria Marquez, shot dead during a live TikTok broadcast at her salon in Zapopan, Jalisco, in front of over 90,000 viewers. The location where El Mencho was killed, the Cabanas La Loma Resort in Tapalpa, had been sanctioned by OFAC in 2015 and again in 2017 for providing material assistance to CJNG. He was killed in a property the U.S. Treasury had formally identified as a cartel asset 9 years before the operation. The intelligence that confirmed his location came through the Joint Interagency Task Force Counter-Cartel. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed intelligence support the same night. President Claudia Sheinbaum confirmed U.S. cooperation but was clear, no American personnel took part in the ground operation. And President Trump posted on Truth Social within hours of the death, Mexico must step up their effort on cartels and drugs. The killing of Mexico's most wanted man was, in Trump's framing, a starting point. When El Mencho was buried in Guadalajara in early March 2026, at least 5 figures inside CJNG had documented claims to leadership. Federal Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed on February 28 that authorities had identified the 4 strongest remaining CJNG leaders, all under active investigation, without naming them publicly. The first was Ricardo Ruiz Velasco, El Doble R. His profile is built entirely around direct confrontation. He controls CJNG's Guadalajara urban infrastructure, internal security, cell management, financial logistics across the city that anchors the entire cartel's command architecture. Security analyst David Saucedo told CNN directly, if El Doble R had taken control, Mexico would have entered a period of cartel conflict unseen since the height of the Zetas. On June 17, 2025, OFAC sanctioned him, naming him as prime suspect in Valeria Marquez's killing. In March 2026, a man connected to his network was arrested in Mexicali on homicide and terrorism charges linked to post-El Mencho roadblocks. The second was Hugo Gonzalo Mendoza Gaitan, El Sapo, OFAC sanctioned, born October 2, 1988 in Michoacan. Not a military operator, a structural one. He manages CJNG's command architecture, regional commanders, cell leaders, logistics. OFAC identified him as overseeing the Izaguirre Ranch recruitment operations. Saucedo described him as the nervous system of the organization. The third was Audias Flores Silva, El Jardinero, OFAC sanctioned, born November 19, 1980 in Michoacan. Regional CJNG commander with territorial authority across Jalisco, Michoacan, Nayarit, Zacatecas, and Guerrero. Operates clandestine methamphetamine laboratories. A $5 million U.S. bounty exists for his capture. Inside Crime reported he brokered CJNG's alliance with Los Chapitos. The fourth was Heraclio Guerrero Martinez, El Tio Laco. Based in Tenjuado, Michoacan, leading the faction called Los Guerreros. His profile is financial rather than military, coordinating fuel theft and alternative revenue schemes across Michoacan. There is one detail most coverage missed. On the morning of February 22, his son, Ruben Guerrero Valadez, alias LR1, was also killed at the Tapalpa Country Club during the same operation that killed El Mencho. The fifth and most structurally powerful was Rosalinda González Valencia, La Jefa, L3's mother, El Mencho's widow. She controls Los Cuinis, the financial network that moves every dollar CJNG earns. She was released early from prison in February 2025. She did not need to lead CJNG herself. She needed to back the right candidate. She backed her son. According to the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with the organization, the transition happened immediately after El Mencho's funeral. No armed internal confrontation. Consolidation through 30 years of relationships, a documented track record as Grupo Elite's commander, and his mother's control of the financial infrastructure. Two senior CJNG commanders agreed not to challenge the succession, according to the Wall Street Journal, in the interest of business continuity. David Saucedo told Anadolu Agency directly, if El Sapo or El Doble had taken control, the country would be in turmoil because they understand no language other than weapons. David Mora of Crisis Group told Euronews that L3's consolidation, if confirmed, represented the lower violence outcome of the available options. When the Wall Street Journal confirmed Valencia González was consolidating control of CJNG, the detail that stopped analysts cold was not his operational history. It was his birthplace, Santa Ana, California. American citizen. Under U.S. law, American citizens abroad carry Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure that foreign nationals do not. Certain intelligence operations targeting a U.S. citizen outside American borders require separate court authorizations, a higher evidentiary standard, and interagency coordination steps that do not apply to foreign nationals. This does not make Valencia González untouchable, but it adds procedural layers that slow the process. And in intelligence operations, time is a structural vulnerability. There is also a legal irony that analysts at Time magazine and the West Point Lieber Institute both flagged. CJNG's Foreign Terrorist Organization designation was designed to create maximum pressure on cartel leadership. But that same designation creates procedural requirements when the leader is an American citizen that would not apply to a Mexican national in the same role. The flip side matters equally. If Valencia González is detained anywhere in the world, there is no extradition process. He is a U.S. citizen. He goes directly into the federal justice system, where his October 2020 indictment in Washington, D.C. carries the same statutory charges that resulted in El Menchito's life sentence. The intelligence dimension is what concerns American law enforcement agencies most. Valencia González has been running cross-border drug operations under active DA surveillance since at least 2007, nearly 20 years without being captured. He understands American law enforcement methodology, financial systems, and institutional rhythms in ways El Mencho, who only experienced the United States through a federal prison sentence, never could. According to the DEA, CJNG affiliates operate in all 50 U.S. states. The fentanyl pipelines, the money laundering networks, the franchise operations, all of them now run under a leader who grew up on both sides of the border he is exploiting. What Juan Carlos Valencia González has inherited is not a cartel in the traditional sense. It is a multinational criminal enterprise operating across 5 continents, designed to survive the removal of any single figure, including its founder. According to the DEA's 2025 National Drug Threat Assessment, CJNG operates across approximately 72% of Mexico's territory. It dominates Jalisco, Nayarit, Colima, Veracruz, Guanajuato, Puebla, Querétaro, Hidalgo, Michoacán, Guerrero, and the state of Mexico, and competes in Baja California, Sonora, Tijuana, Mexicali, and Ciudad Juarez. By 2020, U.S. officials designated CJNG their biggest criminal drug threat. Mexico's former security commissioner called it the most urgent threat to national security. The revenue picture. The organization operated over 100 methamphetamine laboratories across Mexico by 2018. Methamphetamine generates an estimated $4.6 billion annually. Cocaine revenue, approximately $8 billion per year. Total enterprise value, approximately $20 billion. OFAC and FinCEN also confirmed that CJNG's fuel theft and crude oil smuggling operations generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually through illegal pipeline taps, hijacked tanker trucks, and cross-border crude smuggling. The organization additionally operates in timeshare fraud, migrant taxation, and financial fraud. Laundering proceeds through Chinese money laundering organizations. CJNG has an established presence in over 40 countries. DEA confirmed affiliates are active in all 50 U.S. states. The franchise model explains everything. CJNG extends affiliation agreements to smaller local criminal organizations across nearly every Mexican state, embedding its command structure and operational methods into those cells. This is precisely why 252 roadblocks appeared across 22 states within hours of one man's death. Centralized coordination was not required. The franchise had standing orders. Within weeks of El Mencho's burial, major narco-corrido artists including Junior H., Nathaniel Cano, Luis R. Conrique, and Ivan Cornejo released material directly referencing Valencia González's emergence as CJNG's new leader. In cartel culture, narco-corridos are territorial communication. When mainstream artists with tens of millions of streams acknowledge a succession, inside that world the transition is settled. His body never landed in Guadalajara. The flight was redirected to Mexico City, where Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes was taken under heavy security to FEMDO, Mexico's Specialized Prosecutor's Office for Organized Crime, for forensic identification and processing. The man who spent 15 years as the most wanted person in 2 countries was found in a mountain resort. Not through a breakthrough in intelligence tradecraft, because someone in his own operation drove the wrong woman to the wrong address, and surveillance was already watching that person. He was 59. He died in the air. And CJNG did not miss a beat. The Vision of Humanity's Mexico Peace Index had documented a meaningful reduction in Mexico's national homicide rate between 2022 and early 2026. That trend is now at risk. Security analyst David Saucedo warned CNN that if CJNG interprets the February 22nd operation as the beginning of an extermination campaign rather than a targeted operation, the organization could adopt a posture of total war against the Mexican state. Beyond Mexico, the consequences are already moving. Former Ecuadorian Army Intelligence Chief Mario Pazmino told CNN en Español that the Sinaloa cartel and its Ecuadorian arm, the Caneros gang, will move to reconfigure routes previously held under CJNG's supply chain agreements. Global Guardian assessed that Cartels Unidos will push harder in Michoacán, and that the Santa Rosa de Lima cartel alongside Sinaloa allies now has a renewed opportunity in Guanajuato. On February 26th, Mexican forces recovered what analysts are calling CJNG's internal narco payroll. Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed the documents are under active FGR investigation. If authenticated, they will represent the most detailed public record ever recovered of CJNG's payment network, potentially including police personnel across multiple states. 2 numbers frame what comes next. It took 15 years to find El Mencho. He became Mexico's most wanted at approximately age 44. He died at 59. 15 years. $15 million. 2 governments. And in the end, a logistics driver made a mistake. Juan Carlos Valencia González is 41 years old. He has been running cross-border operations under active DA surveillance since 2007 without being captured. He holds a U.S. passport. He watched how his stepfather was found. He knows which variables failed. Every indicator from the U.S. National Counterterrorism Center, the Wall Street Journal sourced reporting, and the narco-corrido acknowledgement of his succession points in the same direction. He is consolidating. He is managing. And he is doing it without generating the visible public profile that put El Mencho on every wanted poster in 2 countries. The agencies that spent 15 years and $15 million are starting the clock again. Juan Carlos Valencia González is somewhere in Mexico right now. He is 41 years old. He has a U.S. passport, a federal indictment, and a $5 million bounty on his head. Based on everything the documented record tells us, the world will probably not hear his name the way it heard El Mencho's for a very long time. That is exactly what he is counting on. If you made it to the end of this, you are exactly who this channel is built for. We cover cases like this with the same level of documented detail every time. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Our follow-up video on the CJNG succession, tracking what happens next with L3, the rival candidates, and the U.S. legal case, is already in production. You will not want to miss it. Drop one comment. What surprised you most? We read every one. At Headline Uncovered, we go past the headline. Every time.
Unsolved. Mystery. Truth. Headline. Uncovered.